It was my third film studies lesson, and as I walked into the small room with a few peers that were in my class, I questioned what we would be doing. This was when Miss Atkins put Unshin Underlow on. However, she did not inform the class on the genre or any details about the film. 20 minutes later, I was confused and disturbed at what I'd just watched. However, these emotions were not negative. Unshin Underlow is a surrealist film directed by Luis Buñuel and Salvador Dali. The film began with a close-up shot of a young girl's eye being sliced open by a man. This scene was created by Buñuel's dream about a cloud slicing through a moon, similar to a blade through an eye. Intrigued, I sat down, and for once I genuinely hoped there was extra work to do at home around this topic. This was when Miss Atkins then set the task for the class for the next 2 weeks, which ended up being my most memorable time in education. The task was to create our own surrealist film directed by ourselves. This, for me, was my first time using a camera. With a massive amount of support from my teacher, I concluded that I wanted my surrealist film to be based around Carl Jung's theory of the shadow. From this, I did deep research and analysis on surrealism and the codes and conventions I should be showing in the film. After 2 weeks, it was finally the lesson where we all had to present our films to the whole class, including our teacher, which brings me to my most memorable time in education. To make the situation fair, the teacher decided to pick our names out of a hat to see who showed their film first, and it was me. Due to my enthusiasm and love of this task, I was actually happy it was me up first. However, before anyone in my class watched my film, Miss Atkins handed out sheets of paper with several questions on. An example of a question was, were there several codes and conventions of surrealism throughout the student's film? From this, we as a class realised that Miss herself would not be marking our work, but we as peers would grade our classmates' films. I believe this to be a good idea as it involved the students with other people's work which they could compare to their own. One of the key messages that we can draw from this is that there is a new way of teaching. As Kalir states, he wants to solve the problem of the lack of involvement students had in the classroom, believing peer tutoring was partly their answer to that. Therefore, my class giving me feedback, I was surprisingly wanted to make the improvements they had suggested, even more than the ones my teacher gave me. Several theorists, such as Kalir and Proof, believe this to be because the hierarchical status differences of power between fellow students are less than those between faculty members and students. However, as David Boud states in an article, yes, peer working is important and students benefit substantially from giving and receiving feedback to their peers' work. Although he also argues that because this is only becoming apparent within older years of education, he states that students unfamiliar with this approach become confused about what they are supposed to be doing. This for me was highlighted when I also had to grade and give feedback about my classmates' work, as this enabled me to do something I'd never done before, and in fact it was a massive learning curve for me. As although I wanted to give my honest opinion on what I thought of their films, I was still thinking about my teacher's opinion and what she would be marking. However, Buñuel's theory of constructivism states that we create new ideas from our existing knowledge, which is what I was trying to do. It was important that I did not write just what the teacher would have wanted me to.